By network convergence, it usually means the convergence of these three networks. The green network is the mobile phone. The operators in China include the China Mobile, China Unicom, and the other one is, I forgot the thing, China Telecom, okay? And the red circle is the internet, offered by many last mile ISPs in China, and also the backbone ISP that I talked about, the three backbone ISPs. And the TV networks, they have many local networks governed by local authority of each province, but the one dominating authority is the SART, State Administration of Television and Broadcasting. That is the Broadcast Bureau in China. In Chinese, it's called Guangdian, 总局, Guangdian. So the convergence means the not necessarily on the a common usage of infrastructure such as TCP/IP, but sometimes a convergence or a sharing of data between applications. Okay, so if the mobile phone network is connected to the internet, we have mobile internet is connected using, for example, 3G. We have mobile IPTV. We could have voice over IP. If the TV network is connected to the internet, we could have IPTV, digital TV. If the mobile phone network is connected to TV network, then we have mobile TVs. Okay, these are but some examples. If all three circles overlap, then we have the so-called network convergence. Imagine the case in which you just use your remote control, for example, of the television, and then you can make a call, and you can access the internet through, for example, the television is connected through just internet cables, okay? And that is an example of this ideal world. Of course, we know that it is not happening yet in China, okay? Engineers will tell you a lot of reasons why technically it is hard to do or perhaps impossible to do. So, of course, there are people, engineers supporting the other direction as well. There is a saying that goes, to every hammer, everything is a nail. Okay, that's perhaps the engineers' exaggeration of the situation. And now, because I'm an economist, although my Ph.D. is in information, I will come up with my exaggeration from the economics perspective. Okay. Now, there have been some works, but not exactly in this area because network convergence is a rather new phenomenon. Okay, there have been some works by myself and my colleagues, Ling-Hu. So we have a few papers on the functions and the problems of the internet management in general. Okay, but this paper, this talk is really just on the network convergence. Okay, and so the what currently is very hot right now in China is that the department, the broadcasting department I talk about, the Guangdian SART, is trying to consolidate all the local TV networks, okay, under one network. Okay, as you know, the TV signal is used to transmitted through the hybrid fiber coaxial, okay, HFC, and it is usually unidirectional, okay. And the governance is separated at the province level in China. So what the SART is doing right now is consolidate all the authorities into one single network and then upgrade the network into a bidirectional mode. Okay, pretty much the idea of the internet in the sense that it is bidirectional. So there is interactive capabilities, although it might not be as fast. Okay. But to my knowledge, the fastest that it could get is about 2 megabits. So it is already considered broadband in many countries, okay, if they succeeded in upgrading the network. Okay? So this paper is about some of the economics of several measures that the SART can do. Okay, SART is an extremely important department because SART controls the ideology of the country. In fact, it helps do the propaganda for the Communist Party. Okay, so you usually receive top priority in many things. Every program in China has to have been endorsed TV programs by SOFT. Okay, in principle, it can censor you if they don't like your program content. It even has the authority to not let you connect to your device, connect to the sockets. Okay, you need to have a license. Even you have the maker of TV or something, you cannot do that in China unless you have a license from SOFT. Okay, and there are in the literature there are people who have worked on the role of SOFT. They concur the importance of SOFT, but they have not yet touched on this topic yet because it's a rather new topic. It became a national policy, network convergence, only in 2010. Okay, and however, since it's so new, then so I don't need to say I don't have any paper to cite, in fact. But then the good thing is that it forces me to use the old tools of economics to see if that can explain some of the works. In fact, in this graph, some economists like to say it's vertical integration because if the SOFTs also control the end device in addition to controlling the contents, okay, vertical integration. And there are people that have worked on vertical integration issues in the States. In fact, the three very interesting studies, they prove that they've shown through empirical data that some level of vertical integration in fact actually is good because some of the programs actually need time to develop some niche markets. And if it is vertically integrated, then it will force the customers to continue using this channel. But in the longer run, the program varieties will increase. And in fact, the price that they have shown that the prices would go down as well. There are some, of course, there are also economic arguments to the contrary as well for other situations. But I'm just telling you that there are tools to understand that. In fact, Williamson just got a Nobel Prize of economics, which he actually worked on vertical integration. And there are a couple of very well-cited papers on vertical integration. Okay, now, how do we apply this to this scenario? Why don't we look at this scenario from this graph? So if the upper dots represent upstream part of the production process, and the lower part is the downstream. Okay, by downstream, I mean the end devices or network types. For example, the left dot could be IPTV, and the rightmost dot could be mobile TV, that kind of thing. Okay. Now, so each content producer can choose to deliver to any of the downstream dots he wants to. The current situation in China is something similar to this. The hotter colors indicate entities more tightly controlled by SOFT. Okay. As you see, since all contents are being censored by the SOFT, so it has some control over all contents. The leftmost color, that's the brightest because the national TV is obviously also the program itself are produced by Guanghua. And for the lower parts, some of the end devices, some of the actually operator of IPTV are actually managed by SOFT themselves. But in the market, there are other competitors as well. You can access content through a phone, and that's not controlled by the end device. Is not controlled by SOFT. Okay. Now, remember the circle. The SOFT is trying to expand the TV circle. This. So I think it's very hard to see. I will just read to you. So that's what I'm thinking. Okay. So when the TV channels become bidirectional, it actually could partially substitute some of the function of the internet. Okay, so in that case, it will like a Pac-Man. Okay, it will eat up other dots. Okay, in principle, if the network is consolidated and the upgrade is successful. Okay, And it's threatening to be doing that also. But at this point, it's more like this situation. Okay, it is doing it, and it's telling people, and it's telling all the people he is doing it. Okay, and why is that? Why doesn't SARB do other things? Okay, for example, SARB could have exercised his power to shut down all the other end devices and shut down all content providers. He can do it, but he is not doing it. It's unlikely that he's doing it, especially when SARB thinks that the total market value to customers are increasing in the number of contents, which is quite obvious, right? Content providers, more innovations need more content providers, and perhaps the lower part as well. The market could be enhanced or enlarged by more providers on the end device level, because SARB is not a very good technical management institute. It is not very good in promoting the market as good as the other ISP, commercial ISP, and it knows very well that. So maybe his goal is to enlarge the market and not necessarily have a larger share, but a smaller share of a larger market. Okay. So lastly, this seems to be the even more plausible scenario in which it will not fully open, okay, the upper stream and also the lower stream. Why is that? If you look at the internet scenario, the government likes to support just a few to make the market into an oligopoly, not letting a full competition on either level. To me, I feel that oligopoly, that means a few companies facilitate rent-seeking behavior of the government. It is much easier to negotiate with a few players instead of just talking to the whole market. It's very hard to, to cover up some deals. So that is to say. Now, so in conclusion, I think one reasonable outcome would be that if SARB continue to receive support from top Chinese leaders on the control, especially on its conflict with MITT. So this is a central assumption. Okay, no one knows who even the top leaders could shuffle. So that's my key assumption. If SARB continues to have this top authority, then it could shape the market the way he wants. That's why it's important to understand its behavior. And also, if the total profit of the whole network is increasing in the number of types of content providers, network, and end devices, and the SARB's bidirectional network is too costly to build. So you might ask, why doesn't it just build the network into bidirectional? Because it's very costly to do so. Okay. Last one is if SARB's vertical integration maintains control, affects its profit share of the total profits, then I predict that SARB will limit competition on both content providers and networks and end device. It will not open both markets. It could limit competition on either level, okay, or both level, okay. But SARB, even though it might know that building the bidirectional network is too costly, but it might still continue to build it, but build it up to the point that the threats of being a competitor is credible. Okay, that's pretty much my talk. Thank you very much. Thank you.